I've played Le Mans Ultimate for well over 1,000 hours now, and I'm a big fan of the simulation. But I don't treat sim racing titles as a religion. The moment a new sim comes out, I want to know what it does differently. So naturally, I started looking at Assetto Corsa Evo. And within a few hours, I already found something interesting.
Add the travel on the rear. And now it bottoms out.
So that short clip you just witnessed, I started abusing the car setup, searching the meta. But what happened was actually the car was bottoming out because of huge spring travel on the rear. Now I won't go a mile deep into car setup stuff in this video, but I will take some notes on what I really starting to enjoy on Assetto Corsa Evo compared to Le Mans Ultimate and why I think LMU should be worried. So let's get into it. I like to build car setups. I like flavor and depth into cars. That's why I'm driving simulation and not Forza Horizon 6. So I want depth in these cars. And when Assetto Corsa, the first patch or the first version launched, I was looking at Evo and I was thinking, man, this is such a wide simulation. They're probably not gonna get depth in there because it's simply impossible. Why is it impossible? Well, if you go a mile wide, you cannot have the depth in what you're doing, right? So if you add like 600 cars, then you're not gonna model these cars optimally. You're gonna make shortcuts, okay? So that was my first concern. Now I did a live stream last week and I was testing out my premium car setup guide, and the philosophies that I have there are broad and interpreted from the real world to the simulation. So I take this 7-step process, or at least the first 2 steps, for the GT3 cars in Assetto Corsa Evo, and it started to make sense. The wing settings, the bump stop ranges, and the overall feeling that I have in the cars. Now when they started to add GT3 cars in Evo, I was thinking, oh, this is actually a good sign. So I tested all these 4 cars and they are all different. And they have different features, and I'm not talking about the end lap time, but the character of these cars are actually really different. But there is something else I really enjoyed. For everyone who played ACC, there is like an X factor of like addiction on how these cars feel on that track. Somehow Kunos has this like formula on force feedback that you can kind of like trust the rear in high speed sections and you'll have just this connectivity to the road. Now this is super subjective and it's a very much disconnect for some people, but it's an absolutely sticking factor to others. When I'm driving Assetto Corsa Evo on a GT3 and a Nordschleife with the Audi, with the proper setup that I created, I just get this like heroin dopamine shot that I cannot ignore. When I go back to Le Mans Ultimate, I'm not having this. I'm there, like I can see what is missing in Le Mans Ultimate that Assetto Corsa Evo does have right now. Now that doesn't mean that Evo will now beat Le Mans Ultimate, because Le Mans Ultimate has a lot of stuff that Evo doesn't have. Good VR optimization. Still it could be improved, but it's a lot better than in Evo. Daily races like 24/7, the fuel energy, tire wear depth, hypercars, and the massive like complexity on how these cars work, and a decent working livery system and leaks, and basically like a lot of like, it feels complete. Why do I say that Evo might be a threat to LMU then? And it's very simple. It's the amount of content. For instance, on Evo I already have more tracks than in Le Mans Ultimate. More tracks, and tracks that I enjoy. Now they said in this 0.7 update there's gonna be like this modding possibility, so people can start making, I don't know, fantasy tracks, new tracks, and we're gonna have like a enormous amount of content to pick from. Now, I'm really concerned with GT3 driving, maybe I'm gonna do some Mazdas or whatever, and I really think there's gonna be a lot of depth in these cars. So if I have car depth and I have a lot of tracks to pick from, then there's gonna be so much more that I can do. To point out here, I'm coming at this from a competitive perspective. I like the online racing, I like to race with other cars. I'm gonna start my community races again soon, and I wanna have like a simulation that will provide this for me, so I need a bunch of tracks, I need car choices, and like a lot of flavor and depth in the car, so I can actually feel the differences. So it seems Evo has the ingredients, but we don't have VR optimization yet, we don't have overlays yet, third parties creating tools for the simulation or whatever, none of that is still existing. Also, I have no clue about the netcode and how cars connect to any other cars, because in Le Mans Ultimate this is superior. I'm gonna be curious if Kunos is able to kind of recreate the same netcode, like the racing, the contact that you have with each other. That's gonna be a feature that is really hard to beat. If you're liking this content this far, could you please hit the like button, that would really help me out. And check the links in the description, there is always some cool Pimax discount codes exclusively using my name. And check out these skill level setups, hundreds and hundreds of people already gotten the package, and they support people, I cannot thank you enough. Plus, with Evo, there's no telling how it will develop and the choices they make, so it's early days, we don't know, but I'm starting looking at Evo more and more and more, and I really like what I see in this latest update. But for the car behavior in general, I think that the cars are still like oversteering too much in the slow corners, the TC system doesn't really feel polished, and there's probably a lot of other stuff. I couldn't find a way to drop my tire temperature, so there's the brake ducts missing, so there's a lot of stuff missing. But the setup screen does make a lot of sense, and you can really tweak at least the GT3 cars really to your liking. You can make an Audi as fast as a Ferrari at the moment, really. But then again, Assetto Corsa Evo is far from a finished product, so should you get it, yes or no? If you're a simulation enthusiast, do it, support the cause. And if you really want a complete game, I don't know, are games being completed these days? They keep patching and updating stuff, so at some point you can jump in and decide for yourself. Now, if you want to build car setups and you really want to get started in Assetto Corsa Evo, here is a video that will help you to start building your own setups, because people say you can only touch the setup if you really know what you're doing. Well, this is gonna help you to start knowing what you're doing. Thanks for watching. By the way, this first is going to be a live stream, and then when I finish the video, then it will be actually that video. But have a look. My Art of Car Setup system is actually being applied in this live stream, so you can see how I build setups myself.